After a year that drew nearly $2 billion in construction activity, it seemed fair to wonder, can that pace keep up in 2023?
We're about 40% ahead of where we normally are of a three-year average. A lot of that is remodel work, a lot of commercial work. There's a lot of variety, retail, office, the different things that we're seeing in the remodel, some of the projects. So that's very encouraging when you have a strong mix like that.
It's been a wild ride. Obviously, we started the pandemic with 175 employees. I think we're at 380 right now. So it's been a lot of growth and record years in the midst of that.
Kind of everybody, I think, is a little bit amazed by what Sioux Falls is doing and the extent of the projects and the $1.8 billion in new starts in 2022. What we are seeing is maybe just a little slow up in the rental side of the commercial side, just because I think everybody was trying to find out where the world is going. With that doubling of interest over a year period, with the high construction costs.
It was interesting to watch because even though interest rates were climbing and inflation rates were climbing and things like that, we still had people, knocking on the door, but they were tapping on the brakes on a lot of their projects.
Cautious optimism seems to be the theme in the early weeks of 2023, planning to support continued population growth while acknowledging the market unknowns.
The activity is there. It maybe isn't quite as crazy as it was for a minute, but again, if you're looking at the number of people coming into Sioux Falls, over 6,000 the last 2 years in a row, I'm not sure that we might slow a little, but I don't think it'll be too much.
Not that we weren't strategic before, but we're more strategic now in what we do. We want to fill out the areas of the city that we don't have a strong presence in. So, thinking the Northeast, Northwest, we've got a project going up, but we'd like to see more over there because we really feel Northeast and Northwest is where it's going to be at. I think a lot of people feel that way as well.
Northwest Sioux Falls will continue to be a driver of growth, supported by major investments like Foundation Park and Jefferson High School.
We've got about 500 acres still available up in Foundation Park of the 1,000 or so that's up there. Foundation Park South has been pretty active. We got a couple new tenants down there. We've got a couple of our rail lots now that are pretty active. They're seeming to come in larger chunks now in that 25 to 50 acre range. And so when you carve that out of that 500 acres goes pretty quickly. I think Amazon is happy here. I think they're hiring right now. They will be for the next 2 or 3 months. They're finding employees. People are coming to them, whether that's because it's a new shining thing in the toolbox, I'm not sure.
Jefferson High School opening up and Amazon coming online is kind of a game changer for that Northwest corridor that's been ripe for development for a long time, but hasn't necessarily been attractive as a desirable place where we can really drive people to want to go up there and live. And that's shifting now. And so we're definitely making investments up there. You've seen a number of other groups making significant investments in that Northwest corridor. I think you'll continue to see that be a very popular area.
We've got some larger spec buildings in that area, particularly along the interstate there. We've got a couple of projects that are going to be coming in. A lot of housing, particularly north of McGovern Middle School in that area.
At the Discovery District, the plan is still to build a 50,000 square foot building to support emerging biotech companies.
More specifically, those companies that are kind of still going through their phases of development, making sure that they get all the things that they need to kind of bring that to full commercialization.
The city is planning road work to support Westside development, including an extension of Marion Road from Foundation Park ultimately to Crooks Road. A key project this year will be finishing the diverging diamond interchange at 41st Street from I-29 to Marion Road.
Contractors really delivered that project well and really focused for the first year west of the interstate. Now this year they'll focus on expanding the bridge, creating the diverging diamond, and then ultimately taking it east over to Shirley Avenue. So that'll be our first diverging diamond. And one of the things that really happens is when we see development happen on the outskirts, as that traffic moves in for their daily commutes, it's those intersections, those interchanges that we need to continue to invest in so we can keep, good, reliable commutes happening.
Another key project for traffic flow is Veterans Parkway, which now connects to Interstate 90 and this year will start to be built out between Cliff and Western Avenues.
That's where the maturity of developments happened already. So then as we do projects on the shoulders of the 2 miles, it'll really start to complement and tie those pieces together. The goal is for us to actually bid that first 2 mile section in April, and then that'll be a 2-year project. But essentially, the remaining 8.5 miles, we want to do a project bid every year, and then they'll start to see multiple contractors in that area, because each 2 mile section will take about 2 years. The goal is to have it done in 2027.
The investment will support continued growth in South Sioux Falls, approaching T in Harrisburg.
For me, I consider T, yes, a great community, suburb of Sioux Falls, but really it's just an extension of shopping and community for the southwest side of Sioux Falls.
We built and finished out Sawyer Point down in Harrisburg. That's been a great project for us right there by the schools. And we continue to look at the opportunities that exist there. But as that corridor closes between Harrisburg and Sioux Falls, and now that sewerability will continue to become more available in that area with Harrisburg opening their plant, there's a lot of opportunity in that area. But you know, obviously between us, Signature, and Creston, you've seen a lot of really great developments around that 85th in Minnesota from a multifamily front. You have all the commercial development. It's really kind of built out.
On the east side, development is occurring all along Veterans Parkway, from as far north as Madison Street, where Sanford Health and Lewis Drug are building a new location, to south of 41st Street, with thousands of new apartments coming online.
The east side, we're really excited to see the Dolly Farms development kind of close out the available land there. We turned over just in the last few weeks the Carlton at Dolly Farms. It's a big mixed-use project right there on 18th Street. And then we've got another project, The Current, starting just north of that this year. So a lot of activity with hopefully some more commercial developments there in the land remaining to the east of that.
There's a lot of activity there for housing and development between different developers that have purchased land along the parkway, all the way down to 57th Street. There's continued interest and activity that's going to happen there.
Soon we'll actually bid the 57th Street project, which starts at Veterans Parkway and goes east to 6 Mile Road. That also will complement and provide the backbone infrastructure to open up a lot more housing area in that area as well. So we're excited about that. We're excited to get those projects out on the street.
We just put in the new road from Benson to 60th Street, Bonson extension. So we opened up Park 8 West. And we think that that's going to help people understand what that looks like. It's all graded out now. So we've got a couple of tire kickers on that. Nobody for sure yet, but we've got some tire kickers that are looking at things there. So we anticipate that will continue.
We just did a partnership with the state of South Dakota to bid a new interchange, another diverging diamond at Benson Road and 229. The bridge just north of there, 60th Street North, is under construction. That project's going really well. And so there's a lot of bridge work, a lot of transportation investment that's happening in this area, really to support the development on all sides of the city.
And it's not just on the outskirts. In the city's core, unprecedented investment is underway. From Central Sioux Falls projects, including multiple new hospital buildings on the campus of Sanford USD Medical Center, to the Midco Arena at Augustana University.
Getting ready to do our downtown plan, and that includes a look at everything from the Riverline District to downtown, the more traditional downtown. Obviously, getting these projects finished, the River Greenway that we've talked about is critical to that. The quality of life types of things, the connections to other communities. We're looking at, Weber Avenue. We're looking at the quiet zones. A lot of those things that are infrastructure around supporting the development that's downtown.
And there's a lot of it. The expansion of Sharapa Place will begin opening its first new spaces this year. The 10-story office and condominium tower is scheduled to be moving tenants in by September 1st, along with the completion of Reed Street through the development.
All of that's going to happen in 23, as well as, the buildings 3 and 4 will come, further up will be really inside work. By the time we get to 9-1, all of the outside work is basically done on the buildings. Still be some road work and landscaping that'll have to be done in 24, but otherwise it'll be more inside work on the apartments.
At the Steel District, the parking ramp will be wrapped with another retail and residential building this year as development continues throughout the site adjacent to Falls Park.
Office tower's coming along really well, and actually us and our other anchor tenant are going to take occupancy of that this summer. So that'll be our new office in just a few short months, and we'll start opening restaurants by the end of the year as well. And then the hotel is starting to take shape right now throughout this year and into the first part of 2024. We'll be working to get that going, with June of 24 being opening for both the hotel and apartments.
Another project will add housing on a city-owned parking lot on First Avenue near Ace Hardware.
There'll be 140 more units downtown. We do not have the next surface lot identified at this point in time. There's just so much else going on right now. We still have the library lot advertised. We'd love to see that maximized with some of the land to the north of that. But right now, we do not have any plans to put additional surface lots for negotiated sale at this time.
And Des Moines-based Christensen Development plans 4 new buildings on rail yard property along East A Street, while existing developers continue to make improvements to their properties and consider other opportunities.
We've got 5 or 6 buildings downtown, very good occupancy, very great tenants. We'd like to own more. I think eventually downtown needs to go to the outskirts. I mean, Maine needs to be developed, Dakota Avenue needs to be developed. I mean, you go to other cities and it's just not, one little area. And I know we're talking about over the viaduct, the Riverline District, which is great. I'm excited to see that and, help where I can in that, of course.
Then there are the public improvements, from the 6th Street Bridge to plans for the next phase of River Greenway to the Jacobson Plaza's ice ribbon and playground.
That project has grown in scope and impact that it will have. And so that'll be a great connection between the developments happening and then the Falls Park proper. And then so the Falls Park master plan, they're still under work with that. As I understand it, they'll have that project and probably a report on that later this summer, probably this fall.
And that all just scratches the surface. Other large projects in various stages of construction include the new Dillard's at the Empire Mall, expected to open in the spring of 2024. The new parking ramp at the Sioux Falls Regional Airport, scheduled for completion in 2024. The Sanford Virtual Care Center at the Sanford Sports Complex, opening in 2024. Dakota State University's Cybersecurity Research Center, also at the Sports Complex and scheduled for completion in 2025. And of course, the infrastructure needed to support the projects and the population. The city is improving everything from capacity at the landfill to the wells that support the drinking water supply.
From a sewer standpoint, we're studying not only the west side, southeast, and now northeast. A lot of really good work, a lot of good interaction happening with the development community on the pace of maturity and the size of those mains. And so the goal is for the next large sewer basin to be opened up is on the west side.
For those continuing to build in the community, 2023 might be presenting some challenges, but it hasn't stopped planning for the future.
Well, you can't tell my wife. But yes, we have our things in a few others, and et cetera. We love our community, number one, okay? I think we've had some success and people keep telling us that they like the projects that we do and the quality we put into our projects. So in that sense, I've got a young team, that's my family, and kind of it's going to be up to them of what they want to take it and go to the next level. But I'm kind of one of those guys that maybe can't go sit on the beach or play golf every day. So hopefully I can continue to contribute a little bit.
Craig kind of jokes sometimes that developers are like hogs. We kind of like eat until we're over full, and then we have to stop completely. And so as a company, we're trying to really taper that off and be more intentional. But I think this can continue for a while as long as the community continues to add the sheer number of people.
All these people that have invested in Sioux Falls have put their money where their mouth is. Thank you. We need it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put my money where my mouth is. You know, I love Orlando. I love, Dallas. I love, different parts of the country. But our investments have been really centered around Sioux Falls because I think it's important for us to maintain growth and build this community out for our children's children.
We really feel like we're moving along very positively, and I just don't see anything going to slow up this community of Sioux Falls.